History remembers winners, but on that riverbank, the wind carried only the truth of fire. Before the first shot rang out, the earth already knew who fought for home and who for orders. The valley shimmered with heat, the grass whispering prayers neither side could understand. Custer rode ahead, golden hair bright as vanity, blind to the storm gathering in the dust. The Lakota watched in silence, their faces painted not for rage, but for remembering. Warriors crouched low, arrows ready, hearts steady in the rhythm of ancestral drums. The sun glared hard, turning each weapon into a mirror of the choices about to unfold. Smoke from campfires curled like omens, drifting toward men who believed they were gods. Custer raised his sword, confident the plains would kneel as others had before. But the plains have no master, only sky, wind, and those who listen when it speaks. The first bullet split the air, and the air responded with a storm of feathers and fire. Horses screamed, the earth shuddered under hooves that no longer knew direction. The Lakota charged, voices rising like thunder, the song of land reclaiming its name. Arrows filled the sky, glowing like falling stars, writing rebellion across the daylight. Custer's men fired wildly, the smoke turning brother against brother, sky against sight. A soldier dropped to his knees, praying to a god who did not speak Sioux. A warrior closed the distance, blade in hand, the dust tasting of blood and history. The smell of gunpowder clung to the air, heavy as guilt, bitter as destiny. A young Lakota fell beside his horse, hand still clutching earth instead of fear. Custer shouted orders no one heard. Command means little when death has no language. The river ran red, whispering to stones that had seen empires come and vanish. Drums echoed from the hills, not for victory, but for balance restored through fire. A trooper's hands shook as he reloaded, realizing courage and panic looked the same. The grass burned where lead struck, smoke rising like new spirits learning to walk. Arrows struck shields, horses, men, the rhythm unbroken, the prophecy complete. The Lakota moved as one, fluid, deliberate like the river they defended. Custer's flag dipped, catching fire before it touched the ground it never owned. A cry went up, fierce, endless, the sound of centuries refusing to vanish quietly. The soldiers fell in clusters, gold buttons glinting like coins for the ferryman. The wind howled, carrying gunfire across the plains like an argument with heaven. A warrior esprade brushed Custer's boot as he fell, two worlds meeting without mercy. The horses circled the dying, confused by the silence between explosions. The sky turned grey, clouded with dust, ash and prayers shouted too late. The medicine man watched from afar, his eyes old enough to pity both sides. The riverbank shook with the echo of rifles until even echo grew weary. One soldier fired into the air, a warning to no one, a confession to the wind. The Lakota advanced, faces painted with the calm of men who fight for tomorrow. Custer reached for his revolver, but found time faster than his hand. An arrow pierced his shoulder, another found his chest, steady as truth. The general fell slowly, disbelief etched into his final breath. Around him his men crumbled like tents in a storm, proud fabric, poor shelter. The bugler tried to play retreat, but his horn filled with dirt instead of air. Smoke swallowed the valley, and the day grew shorter than the shadows deserved. The earth drank greedily, unbothered by rank or reason, loyal only to balance. A horse limped toward the river, its reflection shaking like memory. The Lakota stopped shooting first. Even vengeance tires of itself. The silence after the battle felt heavier than the bodies it covered. A crow landed on a drum, pecking gently, as if counting the fallen. Warriors walked among the dead, speaking softly to those who could not hear. One took Custer's glove, not as trophy, but as proof of mortal vanity. The women arrived with blankets, covering enemies and brothers the same. Smoke from the fires mingled with song, and the plains began to breathe again. A child clung to her mother, asking if this was what freedom looked like. The mother answered with eyes full of dust and unshed names. Far away in Washington, someone would call this victory or murder, of both lies. The soldiers' reports would blame numbers, never the mirror. A priest wrote massacre, and the ink froze halfway through the word. The Lakota buried their dead with honor, faces to the west where ancestors wait. They left the others for the crows, not out of cruelty, but truth. The river carried helmets downstream, reflections of arrogance unanchored. The wind scattered ashes, ensuring no grave could hold ownership of land. One warrior whispered, "He fought bravely, but for the wrong dream." The prairie heard and agreed. Dreams can be thieves too. The sun returned, timid, unwilling to shine on what it witnessed. Horses grazed near rifles, and for the first time peace looked possible. A soldier's diary lay open, half a prayer, half an apology no one would read. The medicine man traced circles in ash, sealing the day inside memory. "We did not win," he said. "We survived. And survival is never clean." The river turned calm again, but beneath it ran the hum of restless ghosts. A Lakota boy stood over the fallen flag and spat once, an offering, not insult. Across the plains thunder rolled, distant, approving, almost kind. In the camps that night, fires burned slow, the songs low and weary. Mothers washed blood from beads. Fathers stared at stars they no longer trusted. The young men spoke of glory. The elders spoke of cost. One said, "Custer will be remembered." Another replied, "So will we." The stars above flickered like sparks left over from the day's violence. Coyotes began to sing, as if mourning on behalf of those who still breathed. The air carried stories, not of triumph, but of necessity. A wounded soldier whispered a name. No one answered, but the wind repeated it. The medicine man looked to the east, knowing sunrise erases and remembers both. At dawn, the plains looked untouched, as if mercy had swept overnight. Only the smell of iron and the hush of the dead told the truth. Custer's hat lay half-buried, brim curled like regret. The sky, now pale and distant, pretended innocence. A Lakota woman knelt, pressing her hand to the earth until it pulsed with grief. "We will not dance for this," she said, "but we will remember." The hills echoed once, faint and hollow, like drums left without hands. Ravens circled high, guardians of silence and consequence. The river resumed its song, slow, honest, carrying fragments of the day away. Far above, the clouds drifted west, taking smoke, names, and half-forgotten prayers. The plains returned to wind and grass, pretending not to remember. But the ground remembers everything, especially what we choose to forget. And the sky, still scorched from that day, keeps burning, quietly, eternally, for both sides.